Yo, Screwballs MMA here, back with another video. We're gonna be matchmaking Flyweight. This is a little bit. This is being filmed the day after UFC 323 and Joshua Van's champ. I said it was gonna happen. The Aura, we won by Aura armbar. But on a real note, we're just gonna matchmake through here. Feel bad for Pantoja, but got some movement in this division now, so it should be pretty cool. I'm gonna start off with Tagir Ulanbekov versus Rafael Fialho. Tagir got absolutely annihilated by Horiguchi, so this is I would say it's a bounce back win, but Fialho is a pretty good grappler, and he's a pretty good fighter, and I don't know. I think this is a good fight for Tagir to come back. He definitely shouldn't be fighting up, and he's fighting just outside of the rankings, so his number like 15 to 20ish range. So yeah, I just kind of threw this one together, but Loner Kavanagh versus Ramzan Temurav. This is assuming Ramzan Temurav is even still in the UFC after popping for roids. I know Temurav quote unquote beat Charles Johnson. Didn't really think he did, but anyway, he popped for roids, and I know that Kavanagh did get knocked out by Johnson in August, but he was winning that fight. Probably realistically was winning that fight. I picked Charles Johnson, by the way. I just want to say that, my goat. But I think this is a good fight. It's a pretty close fight. It's not like a huge. It's not a step down really for either of them. But I want to see how this guy looks. I don't know. We see some veins here. I don't know if he'll still have these when they fight. So I know. I thought this was a good fight just outside of the rankings for Loner Kavanagh. Because Loner Kavanagh, I do think is a very good prospect, and I do believe he'll be a top contender one day. But I think they're gonna have to. You could try to build him back up with like some other like lesser known fighters, but he's beaten some of those guys right outside the top 15, like Loner Kavanagh and Felipe dos Santos. So I do think that this is kind of a good place. Right outside the top 15, could arguably be top 15, but he's not quite top 15. So I think it's a good fight. Next up, I got you could have done Kavanagh versus. I was thinking about booking him against Bruno Silva, but I think I'm gonna do Bruno Silva versus Joseph Morales. Now, I do think Joseph Morales might be a little bit overrated. I thought he lost to Imanol Rodriguez, but I honestly don't rate that too badly. I think Imanol Rodriguez is an amazing fighter. He's booked against Ronaldo Rodriguez in February, and I think he will absolutely smoke Ronaldo Rodriguez and become a top contender. So I do think that's going to be a fight that ages very well for Joseph Morales because his only loss in the UFC. I forget the other one. One of them's to Davison Figueiredo, and then I can't remember the other one that he lost. But I think this is good. He beat Matt Schnell, who's kind of been always just outside of the rankings type of fighter, just inside, just outside. And now, he's definitely declined a bit, but he did smoke him in the first round. So I think Bruno Silva, he's coming off a pretty good win over Hung Sung Park. Didn't think he was going to do it. I don't know where he got a bit of power from. He's looking a little bit bigger. I don't know if he's on that juice now, but it is what it is, man. I think it's a good fight just outside the top 15. Next up, Tim Elliott versus Bedtime MMA. This is a good fight. Bedtime MMA, Mr. Steve Urseg, he's coming off a win over O'Day Osborne. He did almost die. I honestly don't think I've still watched that full fight and through. I had to fight the same day as him. And I don't think I ended up watching the whole fight through, but I remember watching highlights. And he got dropped by O'Day and then had to use a bit of grappling to win the next two rounds, from what I remember. But on the other side, Kaya Sakura isn't looking like it's aging too well as a win for Pantoja and Tim Elliott. Maybe Tim Elliott's just that good. I don't think he is. I just think Kaya Sakura has never hit the gym before, hit the gi before. It is what it is. I think it's a good fight. It's pretty close. I think Tim Elliott's kind of tricky. He's definitely not as technical on the feet as Urseg is. Because Urseg has got slick boxing, but I do think it's a good fight. You could throw this as a co-main in the Apex. You can throw this on the prelims of a pay-per-view. You could throw this just on the main card of a crowded fight night, featured fight area-ish. But yeah, I think this is a good fight. Next up, this might be a bit controversial. I think Charles Johnson is going to run through Alex Perez in January, and I think you give him the loser of Roy Val versus Cop. I didn't really know what to do with this fight that's next week because I pretty much matched up everyone else in a way that makes sense. So I do think that Mr. Mini Nate Diaz is going to beat Kendrick Lamar next week. And I think that's going to send Cap back to do a little bit of Cop versus Johnson. And I think that's a good fight. And even if Royval loses, which I don't think he will, but if he does lose, two long, really two long flyweights with really good cardio, I think this could make for a pretty good fight. You could do this as in the Apex as a main event. I would like to see that as a 5-round fight, but I don't think it probably should be. But if they're going to the Apex more next year, I wouldn't mind throwing these guys together as a main event in the Apex. But yeah, that's what I got. Charles Johnson versus the loser of Manel Cap versus Brandon Royval. Next up, Amir Albazi versus Alsu Almabayev. Alsu, he kind of was getting touched up by Perez in that fight. And, was kind of getting taken down by Perez. And he hit a nice wheel kick into a guillotine, I believe a guillotine submission. And I hate Amir Albazi. And Amir Albazi somehow top 5 because of his win over Kai Kara France. But anyway, book these two, throw it on the prelims of a pay-per-view, and loser can get cut from the UFC, winner can too. Next up, I see a lot of people matchmaking it. I agree. Moreno versus Horiguchi. If they go to Japan early next year, I think they'll probably go in April or May. I think this is a sick fight to throw in there. And I think Horiguchi's a real deal, man. I think this is a sick fight to throw on a pay-per-view main card of or a pay-per-view main card, or it could be a fight night main event too. If Moreno wants to make a quick turnaround to Mexico City, I don't think he will. He did get TKO'd. It was a bit of a weird stoppage, but I think this is a really good fight, and I think if Horiguchi wins this, you can give an argument for a title shot. Next up, I want to address this. When Pantoja is healthy to come back, which could be, honestly, could be a year. It could be next. I could see it being like next November, next December. You get whoever the winner of the next fight I'm going up, the next fight coming up is, I think Pantoja should get it. No doubt about it. I am worried for him. He's 35, 36, and he's coming off a really bad. I think they said it's the shoulder. I think it's the elbow too as well. There has to be something with that elbow with the way that thing snapped. Next up, the fight we've all been waiting for. The King. Joshua Van. This guy's a few years older than me, Mr. Joshua Van. Tatsuro Taira. These guys are two young fighters. I believe both of them are born in the 2000s, so I think this would be the first title fight with two fighters born in the year 2000. But this fight is so sick, man. This is such a beautiful fight. And I think, I hope you guys like the editing skills for Pantoja here. I think you throw this in Japan, co-main event, Yuri Prohaska main event for the vacant light heavyweight belt. Hopefully, if Pereira moves up. If Pereira doesn't move up, then we just do this as the main event. Yuri versus Alberg or Ankalaev as the co-main. But this in Japan would go crazy. You put Roundtree on the card. You put a few other fighters on that card. I think that can make for an absolutely beautiful card in Japan. Van versus Taira. I think this is an interesting matchup too, because I feel like this is kind of. I honestly think Taira is a better grappler than Pantoja. I don't think he's a bit more pop on the feet than Pantoja, but I don't think he's not gonna crowd Van like Pantoja was going to try to, and I think that's not as good for Taira. I think if he tries to go clean striking with Van, I think he'll get touched up, and I think he'll get countered a lot in the feet because he doesn't move his head at all. But I think that's a good fight, and I think if Taira can get his back, I think he can submit him. Taira is the best back taker probably in the sport of MMA. He's so clean. I know that's crazy because Pantoja is such a good back taker too, but he's more slick with it. Pantoja usually, it's a scramble, he gets in the back. Taira just flows position to position. He floats on top. It's so beautiful the way he just gets it in. He gets the body triangle, and then he hooks underneath the leg, and it is done so to a T. And he used it well for that. I know that was a bit of an early stoppage with the Moreno fight, but the ground and pound was on point. The way he was just pop, pop, like he flattened him out, and Moreno, he wasn't hurt, but there was nothing he could do, and there were big shots coming in from up top from Taira. So anyway, yep, that's it. Van versus Taira, Tokyo, Japan, 2026. Book it now, and I honestly think we can get 2 title defenses for Joshua Van in 2026 before Pantoja comes. So I think we'll get this one in probably maybe March. Probably not. Maybe they do the 2 pay-per-views in March, but I think April, Japan, International Fight Week, or maybe even in the White House, we do Van versus